Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MCC, the very first episode of 2021. I'm your host, Isaac Mack. Joining me today is two very special guests, film producer Darren McFarlane and commercial and film director Brian Patto. They are here to talk about the progress and production of the short film Grace, which tells a tale of a young girl and her father in Mosul, Iraq, during the turbulent and dangerous time. So, gentlemen, welcome and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Thanks for having us.
Happy New Year, mate. Absolutely. We're stoked to be on.
2021, we made it.
Yeah. Tell me about
it. I know. I'm so glad to be in 2021 and just live that 2020 carcass. Well, I shouldn't say carcass. 2020 behind us. So, the donkey. Leave the donkey of 2020 behind us. Yeah.
Let's pretend that didn't happen. Yeah.
Oh no! Look, we're super excited because Patto and I have been working for a number of years in the commercial world, and so we've always been talking about doing a film together, a passion project, and so for us to finally not only finish 2020 productively by doing our dream film, but it was an absolute ripper. It was a wonderful experience. The gods were smiling at every aspect of this production, wasn't it, Patto? Like.
Absolutely.
The things where the proverbial usually hits the fan, with this particular thing, it would hit the fan, but then you go, you know what? That was actually better than we thought. It was amazing. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, no, it all lined up for us, which is great, which is really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful cast, amazing cast. I remember when we were doing the casting process and we're sitting there, how are we going to get this cast? It's going to be such a process. Find someone who can speak Chaldean or kids who we can teach to speak Chaldean. And the first person we saw at Patto's going, am I mad? She's the one. And I'm going, dude, go with your gut. Go with your gut.
Always go with your gut. Absolutely.
We would go with our guts all the way. And amazing Lara Matty, which was amazing. Beautiful. Just those eyes. So we're so excited to be sharing this film with everybody and the world. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I've had the pleasure of getting to know you both over the last, I suppose, couple of months. My first question is, who cried first during production? I'm guessing.
Well, I have to say, I cried first, and it was not from the sheer mountain of trying to make the film. I cried first during our first day of rehearsal, which was a week before we did filming, when we had the two male leads acting out a scene about escaping Mosul. And for both men who had experienced it for real and something similar, like even me really thinking, now I'm getting all teary thinking about it. It's like these two, brisk, amazing Iraqi men, we had to stop for a moment because it was so much emotion. And we feel very blessed that these men allowed us to film that a week later, and they allowed themselves to feel that for us and to share the story. I'm still watching the film now, and I must have watched it 20, 30 times, and I'm still tearing up at the beautiful story that they tell and that we've been allowed to share. So
absolutely.
It's incredible.
I think first time I teared up was when we had the first compile. And Chris and I were sitting in the edit suite, and we were, we had about 90% of the film built, and up until that point, the way you see film, the way you construct a film or a narrative is you see it very logically. You go, what's the audience going to feel here, or how are you going to interpret this, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the first time I teared up is when we finally had it rock and roll. Well, we have it. Finally have it rock and roll, which we call a WIP, work in progress. Yep. And I sat there as an audience member, not as a director, as an audience member. And Chris hit play and watched the whole way through. And it just got to the end, and I was like, oh crap. Oh, what? Wait, hey, what's going on here? But that's what happens when you become an audience member, when you forget about the toolkit, so to speak, edit here, music there, whatever it is here. When you forget that and you just dive into the story, it's, look, we're really, really, really pumped to show the world this. And yeah, we're just you know, fingers crossed that we've shown a couple of people, because what you tend to do with these type of films is, or with any film, is you show you know, a bunch of people, one, that you trust, but two, you know, would give you constructive feedback, and that have nothing to do, well, no idea about the script or what the film's about, or haven't heard about it, and you show, you know, fresh eyes. It's a fresh perspective, and because I think Daz and I and Chris, you know, just seeing this thing over and over and over and over again, we became really close to it, and it's like, okay, it makes sense to us. What about other people that have no idea about it? Like, how are they going to interpret this film? And thankfully, it's been all pretty positive feedback. People understand the story, and, you know, it's yeah, once you give context to that part of the world, because that's the hardest thing. No one knows who these people are. No one knows who we are. No one knows what, you know, what we've been through. And like I said last time we spoke, you know, you don't get much of it except for that 60-second insert, you know, in CNN or Fox News, and this is what these people are doing, and then you kind of walk away. So once you give them context, them being the audience, context of who these Syrian Chaldean people are, I think, the audience will resonate, hopefully.
Yeah, and it's so important to do so, because Patto and I were chatting today, and one of the people we're working with is like, oh, well, we can't wait to work on your film about how the Taliban come into Mosul and went after the Christians. And we're going, so this is the reason why we're going to get this film out there.
We did. Yeah, we did a bit of research, you know, and what happened in Mosul and how the Taliban, you know, and I was like, okay, no.
The Taliban did travel a long way. But that's not their fault, like, because no one hears these stories, and it's, you know, we're in our own little bubble, and, you know, we've just spent 2020 in lockdown and being very immersed in our own little world, and you know, people have become or are quite selfish and don't think beyond that bubble. So, you know, we've created a beautiful film with amazing cast, and we are very proud to be able to share this, because we know this film will resonate. And Patto's got this amazing composer, Dimitri, who's done personally, it's an award-winning soundtrack that it's
incredible.
You know, your emotions are just like, oh my God, every time I listen to it, it's like,
it's incredible.
You know, and so when you've got these beautiful emotions, beautiful images with the music, it's like you can't help but feel and connect. And then, of course, that then sinks into your brain of like, wow, how is this possible?
We'll give you a sneak peek.
Hey. I can't wait just for this to get out, and even further on, just so that I think people understand our identity. And not so long ago, I had a friend of mine say, "Hey Z, you got to check this guy out. He's like you. He's Christian. He's from Syria." And I said,
I know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the great thing about having someone like Daz on board is it doesn't stop there, and that's the thing. I think for us, it's not just the short film and then you walk away. It doesn't stop there. It's, you know, we're already thinking ahead for a feature and a TV series and all that type of stuff. So it's fun, exciting times.
Absolutely, because, you know, we were very fortunate having a lot of help from the local IRAQI community who were, you know, your friend was donating stuff, and a lot of the cast members, they were donating, you know, authentic books and Bibles, all with the proper language down the side of the spine, and pictures of the Last Supper, which was very important to have in the house, and all the religious iconography all through the house. But as I'm picking up these things that people were beautiful possessions that they were loaning to us, I would sit down and chat to them and have a cup of tea and eat some beautiful, you know, food and hear stories, and each story is incredible. Yeah. And that's what we kept saying to Patto, like, you know, there are hundreds of stories, and then Patto's like, well, in my family, there's hundreds of stories, and there's hundreds and hundreds, there's thousands. And if we'll like sitting go, we could do a TV series like Fargo or something like that, where each season is apropos of a particular period of time of Iraq, as we focus on the hardship and resilience of the Iraqi people. There's so many incredible stories that can be told, and we want to tell them.
I mean, yeah, I think you're sport for choice.
Yeah.
I've told this story. I'll tell you quickly. For example, when I was 6 years or almost 7 years old, that's when we were about to leave Mosul. And I was this little boy sitting in the back of my dad's car, and my grandfather was driving basically my dad to the airport. And I'm sitting in the back, listening to my grandfather say, "I think this is the last time we see each other. And this is what I want you to do when you go to Australia. Go there, bring all your brothers, and once they're all there together, sit down and tell them that this was my last wish." So I got to witness that, right? And,
Oh, wow.
and I saw that happen when I was almost 19 years old.
Yeah.
I sat there and I saw my father fulfill his father's word, and who had passed away. So he was right about that was the last time they were going to see each other.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there, and so that's just one of my stories, and I've got Uncle. So yeah, I think you're absolutely sport for choice.
Totally.
With stories.
I know. And then the thing which I find amazing is, I'm in this beautiful house hearing these incredible stories. And then on the TV, we see some dropkick complaining about wearing a mask. And I'm sitting there going, the things you've gone through to get here for a safe life in Australia for your family and future family. And these dropkicks are complaining about the liberties taken away from them by wearing a mask and then how they're living under a dictator. I'm going, well, I'm sorry, this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
boo-hoo, hey?
Oh, my God. So anyway.
Well, I want to talk about, I suppose, you already touched on it, Brian, but I remember when we first spoke, and you talked about the potential impact the short film may have on society and, the overall vision. And I got the vision straight away because it was, I think, something that's deep in a lot of our hearts about, getting, I suppose, exposure, you can call it, but just recognition, really. But I want you to speak a little bit about that, that vision of what you'd ultimately like to see happen.
Look, the film for me, it was really important to explore. I mean, the culture, yes, to explore the culture, but the best way to resonate with an audience is to show a human story. So for when Chris and I and Daz sat down and spoke, it was really important for me to make sure it wasn't. Again, I've said this so many times, but it's not a documentary. It's not like a political film. It's a story about a father and his daughter trying to survive in this part of the world. And that's the way you resonate with an audience. I mean, I'll come back to that, but an example, and again, this is my own opinion, but an example of a wasted opportunity was Mosul, the film on Netflix. A wasted opportunity to explore the culture. And I know it's an action film, and I know, you've got to kind of, it's got to be action and all that type of stuff and the heroes. But there was a scene in the film where, these two boys are basically wheeling their dead father to his grave or trying to find somewhere. And, the men in the tank open the door and they come on, get in the car. And they're like, oh, well, I can't leave my father. And he says, look, we're going to get this country back. We'll get it back, but we have to kill the bad people first. And I'm like, wait, what? What do you, like, they're wheeling their dead father. Like, where's the emotion? Where's the human aspect of it? So for our film, it was really important. And again, I'm drawing comparisons to different things, but what I'm trying to say is it was really important to make sure that it's a human story first.
Yeah.
And that's the way that, again, the culture and the time period and where they are in the world, all important things. But if you don't grab it with emotion, if you don't actually go, look, these are actual human beings, and they're just trying to live day to day, it's in my opinion, it's not going to work. That's not the way you introduce the culture. Because the easy way out is to go, 5,000 BC, this empire was da-da-da. And then you walk through right? And you go, then the Assyrian Empire, then Babylon, et cetera, et cetera. And it just
people tune into that, just the historians.
Exactly. It just becomes a history lesson. And you're like, well, okay, what about the people? So for me, I'm hoping that, again, the simplicity and the beauty of the story resonates to audiences. And again, for us, from a future sense, this is a proof of concept. to do bigger and better things. The short film itself, of course, it'll we'll submit it to festivals all around the world. The big, what is it, Daz, 7 or 8? I think. How many are the big ones?
There's about 8 big ones, which if you do well in those, then you get into the Academy Awards. So.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So, and traditionally, and look, traditionally short films, they are the 10, 15 minute, and films very short and compressed. And I think what we did, which I was very, I don't know, I caught myself by surprise. I don't know about you, Daz, but the emotion in this film in 10 minutes, 10 is very, one is really, really hard to achieve, but I think just the simplistic beauty of the story allowed us to achieve that. So to answer your question, the short film acts as a proof of concept to do bigger things. And then that's where you can explore history and other families and where you can really dive, when you've got 2.5 hours or something to tell a feature, or an hour an episode by 8 to tell a bigger story. Going all the way back, I don't know, you could explore the monarchy, and then Saddam, and then et cetera, and then show all that side of the history. But for this short film, the key is to get out there, to show people, and again, the first 3 or 4 seconds, you'll get it. Syrian, Chaldeans, Christians living in Iraq. You'll get it immediately. That. That's very, very. When you see it, in the opening frame, it's going to not confuse people, but it's going to surprise people because they're gonna hear something and they're gonna see something else. I won't tell you what it is, but when you see it, you'll understand what I'm saying.
Okay. All right.
And to adding to that too is the beautiful relationship between father and daughter, played by Brian's uncle Basil Patto and Laura Maddie. You instantly believe they are father and daughter. There is an instant chemistry between those two, and you are instantly drawn into this story. It's incredible. Like, I remember when we were doing that scene, that was one of the first scenes we shot. I was like going, yes, to Patto, like, it's so good. They just both shone, and it was so natural, and your heart just bleeds for this father and daughter. Instantly.
I tell you what, the relief, it's funny because we've been doing this for so many years, but the relief you feel when leading up to it, I don't know, what do you think? I don't know, what do you think? What do you think? Like, it's kind of, there's so much I don't know, and then the camera rolls, and on that first take, it's like, bang, yes, we got something. Like, we made the right decision, and like 95% of the people on set didn't speak the language, but they felt the emotion. It surpasses the language. It's an interesting thing, and you can all relate as a parent or as a child, or a sibling or whatever it may be. You can relate. That's a story that you can always relate to.
Awesome. Well, I want to talk about, I think I sent this to you, I think, Brian, or maybe both of you. It was called the Netflix effect. So once I got my head around it and saw where the vision was, this is where I personally, I think anyone that's watched our interviews, and obviously people who've donated, they've really got the vision. It's made sense. But for me, this is a great example of what is possible, especially with this film, and I think I believe it will happen. So this is about the Queen's Gambit. I'll just read this. So this was a post on December 4th. So the October 23, 2020 Queen's Gambit debuts on Netflix. To date, 62 million households have watched the show. So it's only in 2 months. Inquiries for chess sets are up 250% on eBay. Google's search queries for how to play chess has hit an all-time high in 9 years. The original novel, The Queen's Gambit, is now New York Times bestseller 37 years after it's been released. And the number of players on chess.com has multiplied by 5 times.
Wow.
So
it's a cool effect. It's a cool effect.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So, which brings me on to the next point. I know from talking to you guys, so as far as funding goes, the cost of shooting the film, I think, blew out from what you originally had.
Yeah, well, we were thinking it was going to be a couple of grand each.
Yeah. So see what happens is, yeah. Sorry, you go
Yeah.
ahead.
So we did start the fundraiser, and the goal was to raise 15 grand.
Yeah.
Obviously, it won't cover the whole cost, but I know it'll certainly help.
Yeah.
So currently, just so everyone knows, we're actually halfway, just over 51%. We're just over halfway there. So we really need everyone now to really get behind it. It's a new year. 2020 is gone. Let all that go and actually really get behind this, because that's what the Chaldean and Assyrian people need to do. But I will take this opportunity to also thank people who have donated so far. I've even had friends of mine who aren't Iraqis, aren't Assyrians, anything, or Chaldeans, Aussies, Americans who are happy to dig deep and donate just because they saw the vision, they wanted to support it, which is absolutely phenomenal. I know even some of Darren's family members have, I've seen the names, have done the same. Marvelous. So yeah, thanks so much to everyone who has. But
absolutely.
Like I said, we're halfway there, and I'm going to post a link under this video. So we just really need over the next 2-3 weeks to push it so we can actually get this thing going.
Absolutely, be amazing.
Its effect happen to this.
Yes,
absolutely.
I know.
Well, what happened? So where it started, the initial vision for it was a very simple thing. It was very kind of stripped back, and what happened in the writing process was we found that when developing it, things started to unfold, things that needed to be in the story, and you write something with a vision in mind. And then you get somebody like Daz to come on board, and Daz says, "You're nuts because it's going to cost X amount." And that's
how much is it to blow this whole room up?
and look, the initial.
I'd rather just cut to black and we hear sound effect.
Yeah. So the initial, the initial idea started off very, very simple.
Yeah.
Then it exploded. And then once we found out, once we realistically put it all together, it was like, oh no, we're gonna have to we have to meet in the middle. So, I mean, there are so many things that go into making a film. And again, I don't want to, for people who are watching or listening, I don't want to be the one telling people how to suck eggs or anything, but just everything from the art department, to the VFX, to the sound, to the editing, to the crew, to the gear, to the insurances, there's so much that goes into it. And, when I was younger, again, this goes back to our first conversation. When I was younger, it was, I got this movie, I'm going to take a camera and let's just go and do it. And you could be lucky and, be very successful doing that. But most successful films, again, need to just take a breath and breathe and figure out how to do things the right way. So when we finally found what that medium ground was, because I initially asked Daz, mate, I want to do an exterior shot, and I want to, let's go to, how do we replicate Mosul? Okay, let's try, I don't know, Jordan. Let's go Morocco. And he's like, mate.
Exactly.
No money.
Yeah. And also, I just want to bring to your attention a pandemic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look,
minor details. Details.
I mean, look,
no travel.
The thing, the fact that we got this done in amongst a global pandemic, and we did it safely, abiding by rules and laws and regulations. We did all that. That's a very, very complicated thing to do. But yeah, anyway, replicating to the best of our ability, a house in Mosul, taking a photo and getting talented people to build a house is time and money and all that type of stuff. But I just wanted to, just reiterate how much from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much to the people supporting. We really, we can't thank you enough. And, we look forward to, showing everyone the film and more importantly, bringing everyone, on the journey to down the line. Because again, I want to reiterate, it doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop the short film. That's not our objective. Our objective is to again use it as a proof of concept and go, hey, big money players, this is what we can do with a small budget and limitations. Imagine what we could do with your support and, you know, your pockets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
You know,
obviously, you've got I suppose you'd have objectives of when you want to get everything done. But do you think, you know, one of the first objectives, obviously, raising enough funds, you know, that we've set out. But also, do you think a lot of that can be achieved this year in terms of getting it out there? And
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Look, yeah.
Our plan is to get it into the Cannes Film Festival, which is sort of the first festival came off the rank, which is, Patto and I said, look, that would be a dream of ours. You know, Glenn and Ivan's short film, Cracker Bag, I worked on that many years ago as the location manager. That went to Cannes and won a Palme d'Or, and that sort of led to those guys' amazing careers. For the DOP, Greg Fraser, for Glendon, you know, shining in what they do best. And so we've set ourselves, you know, a similar path to those guys. So we're hoping to get the film into Cannes, which is April, May this year, but we have to submit by end of Feb. So we're frantically trying to get all the post-production done this month. Okay. And we want to try and get that sorted so that we can submit in Feb. And then from there, we'll just start submitting to other festivals and you know, Berlin and Venice and Sundance and all those sorts of guys, but also to have under our arm when we go to these festivals, because you obviously have plenty of opportunity to meet lots of producers and lots of sales agents and whatnot, to have a feature film version of, or at least a 30-pager and a descriptor of what we would do as a Grace as a feature film, but TV series that we're developing as well, and just other ideas book as well of things we want to do. And it's all in the same wheelhouse of you know, the struggle of families and mothers and daughters and fathers and daughters and fathers and sons and so forth, and generational stories of, you know, not only the struggle to escape Iraq, but then in the refugee camps in Turkey and Syria, and then the struggles of being in detention camps here in Australia and America and Europe, and you know, there's a plethora of stories to be told.
Yeah.
But always, as I said, a human heart, always, because that is what people connect with. Beautiful people that are instantly draw someone into who wants to listen to their story and then tell the story from the heart.
It's all about heart.
10 minutes. Yeah.
You can. It's all about heart. Look, even the most actiony of action films has that heart. I mean, look at John Wick. You know, it's all action, but you know, you put that bit about the dog. Yeah, you know, and that connection with him, and all of a sudden, you know, you feel for. So, the stories. And look, I've had so many people reach out and tell me their stories, and I just freak out every time I hear one of these stories. I just go, you're like, you're kidding me? You lived through this? Yeah. You actually experienced this? It's But to add to that, and Daz is you know, has experienced this in Cannes and other film festivals. You know, Grace is our short, but we've also written a TV show, a TV pilot, and we've got our writer also writing a feature film. So we've got these things already in work. Like we'll need, you know, we'll go in guns blazing, so to speak. You know, we're prepped, ready to go. It's not because once you get that opportunity to meet someone who's, you know, well connected, influential, and has the right, you know, kind of knows the right people, you need to be prepped, you know. Cool, this is a short film we did, but guess what, this is what we want to do. Have a read of this and talk to people and get those connections happening.
I'm loving the TV series, because we were developing that early a year ago, in fact, and we're talking about it, and we looked at the timeline for Iraqi people and the certain things that historically happened that led to people fleeing their homes. And then so we based it on people fleeing I think it was the first Iraq Gulf War One, and coming into Australia in the early 90s. And then as we're sort of telling this story, we inadvertently realized that here's the backdrop in Iraq is, you know, Saddam and the Gulf War happening there, but the backdrop in Melbourne is the gangland wars. So we have the wars in Iraq and the wars in Melbourne as the backdrop to this family trying to escape that, but then coming here and then getting caught up in what's going in and around Melbourne at the time. So historically, really amazing stuff. But, you know, the common thread always is the family, what one would do for family, how far one would go to protect family, and the resilience of that, and the effect that has on the family too.
Yeah.
No, I just simply can't wait just for, people just to watch it and to connect with it. I mean, there'll be so much emotion. It's not even funny.
Oh, totally. I think the best way to describe it, it's an IRAQI Godfather.
That's right.
Wow. No pressure, mate. No pressure. No pressure at all.
Yeah.
That's right up Brian's alley.
Exactly.
Well,
Brian De Palma Patto.
we'll obviously, because when it's in the film circuit, it can't go anywhere else once it's doing the film. The circuit runs. So what we'll do is we'll organize a screening for for people to see the film, and and we'll get it out there, because we won't be able to chuck it on online immediately. It has to have that film festival circuit first, that run, and then it goes online after that. So I'm hoping that I've got nothing but people saying positive things, which is great, which is amazing, but also people knocking on the door going, so when can we see this film? When are you going to show it to me? And it's man, there's a lot of work in post-production, dude.
I know.
Yeah. I know. I'll tell you, I'm going to cross that border. I don't care if there's whatever. As soon as it's ready, I'm coming with. I don't care what I have to wear. Radioactive suits.
You're on the VIP list, mate. You're on the VIP list.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. We'll wrap it up in a sec. Any last thoughts in terms of anything you'd like to add before we let you go?
I think for me, it's just a massive thank you for all the support, especially from yourself and from the community and everyone's that donated, and everyone that even if you haven't donated, people that have shared it and got the word out and stuff like that. That's really, really appreciated. I know. Again, I don't know how this social stuff works, and had no idea what any of it was. So thank you for introducing us to it, or introducing me to it. But just a really big, heartfelt thank you so much for
absolutely
support.
I think it's a big thanks to you, Z, and also a huge thanks to Mahia, who was really sort of the person who helped us reach out into the community and make the right connections to meet our cast. And so the IRAQI community is amazing, and we're so grateful to where we've gotten to so far, and we can't wait to forming an amazing connection, friendship, and work together for the future.
And a massive, massive thank you to my wife. I love you so much for dealing with this craziness. She's extremely patient and very supportive. And I tell you what, I live, breathe, sleep, and eat this film. It's just been this thing for a very, very long time. And to be as patient as she is angelic, probably the word to say. But
Tanya's amazing. We had to clear the backyard and dress it with all these plants, and she came in and with this whirlwind force of an incredible IRAQI woman did the work of 10 men, I swear.
Oh man, she did. She was pulling trees out of the ground. Yeah. So I'll put that one there, try this and that one there.
I said,
before I let you go, any New Year's resolutions that you want to share with the world? Like, Brian, is your beard going to keep going, or?
No. I'm getting
going to join the club?
It would take me years to grow a beard.
No, I'm gonna trim this thing. New Year's resolution. Make film, man. Make film.
I think one of the things we really learned on this film was, because there's lots of moments where you doubt yourself, and there's lots of moments where you question yourself, and there are moments when you get in flight or fight mode. And the thing, time and time again, we just turned to each other and went, go with your gut. Just go with your gut. And I think for 2021, whatever you do, just go with your gut.
100%. 100%.
That's great advice. We'll finish on there. Thanks so much for your time,
and we've both got lots of guts too, so it's all good.
That helps.
Thank you so much, Z. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.